Trying harder is not the issue. The problem is that you're trying harder inside the same identity that created the problem. So you put in more effort, more time, more energy, and somehow your life keeps producing the same results. Maybe you've felt this before. You genuinely try. You make plans. You set goals. You promise yourself things are going to be different. And for a while, they are. You become more focused, more disciplined, more committed. Then, eventually, something happens. You drift. You slip back. You lose momentum. And before long, you're looking at your life, wondering why it still feels the same. That's what makes this so frustrating. It's not that you're doing nothing. It's not that you don't care. It's not that you haven't tried. You've tried. A lot. And that's why the lack of change feels so confusing. Because effort should lead somewhere. But for many people, it feels like they're running on a treadmill, moving constantly, arriving nowhere. Most people assume change is mostly about behavior. If I work harder, things will improve. If I become more disciplined, things will improve. If I find the right strategy, things will improve. Sometimes that's true, but often something deeper is happening. Imagine a thermostat set to 68 degrees. You can temporarily heat the room to 75, but the thermostat keeps pulling everything back toward its original setting. Many people approach change the same way. They change behaviors temporarily, but their internal setting never changes. Their identity remains the same. The person still sees themselves as someone who quits, someone who struggles, someone who's always behind, someone who's not confident, someone who's bad with money, someone who never follows through. The behavior changes. The identity doesn't. So eventually the system corrects itself. The old beliefs influence decisions. The old decisions create familiar outcomes. The familiar outcomes reinforce the identity, and the cycle continues. Identity, behavior, results, identity, again and again. This is why effort can feel strangely ineffective, because effort is fighting against a system that keeps restoring itself. If this sounds familiar, that should actually feel relieving, because it means your lack of progress may not be as mysterious as it seems. This is where many people misunderstand the problem. They think nothing changes because they haven't tried hard enough. But effort isn't always the missing ingredient. Sometimes effort is already present. What's missing is an updated identity. Think about it this way. A person can spend years trying to act confident. But if they still fundamentally see themselves as insecure, every setback becomes proof that the old identity was correct. The identity survives. The behavior disappears. The person concludes that change didn't work, when really the deeper layer never changed. The goal isn't to force new behaviors forever. The goal is to become the kind of person for whom those behaviors feel natural. That's a completely different process. Here's shift number 1. Pay attention to the stories you repeat about yourself, not the stories you tell other people. The stories you tell yourself. I'm always behind. I never finish things. I'm not disciplined. I always mess things up. Those stories matter more than most people realize, because behavior often follows identity. Shift number 2. Stop treating old outcomes as permanent evidence. Many identities are built from repeated experiences, not objective truth. Something happened enough times that you accepted it as who you are. That doesn't mean it's who you are now. Shift number 3. Look for evidence that contradicts the old identity. Most people are experts at collecting proof for their limitations. Start noticing moments that challenge the story. Moments of discipline, moments of confidence, moments of courage, moments of consistency. The brain updates through evidence. Give it something new to work with. Shift number 4. Expect change to feel unfamiliar. Many people think growth should feel natural. Often it doesn't. What's natural is familiarity. What's unfamiliar is becoming someone you've never been before. Discomfort doesn't automatically mean you're failing. Sometimes it means you're leaving the old identity behind. Here's the closing idea I want to leave you with. If you've been trying hard for a long time without seeing the changes you want, consider this possibility. Maybe the problem isn't your effort. Maybe the problem is that every attempt at change has been filtered through the same version of yourself. Because effort can create movement, but identity creates direction. And if the identity never changes, the results often circle back to where they started. Effort can move your life forward, but identity decides where it actually goes. If the identity doesn't change, the results usually won't either. Real change isn't about trying harder. It's about changing the version of you doing the trying. And once that shifts, everything else starts to feel different. In the next video, I'll show you why people understand this, but still end up stuck in the same patterns anyway.